Hey, you guys, welcome back to Boiling Point Faith and Fire. Okay. This is the place where we stop tiptoeing around the truth and start talking like real believers who actually read their Bible and live in the real world. The show was built for people who are tired of the surface level Christianity, tired of pretending that everything's fine, and really ready to confront what's actually happening in our society, in our homes, in our bodies, in our faith. Um, this is where like your convictions are going to collide with chaos all around you. Faith isn't a slogan, you guys. It is a weapon. um the fire in our podcast is not for an aesthetic, it's purification. We don't do the lukewarm stuff. We don't do politically correct. Well, Rory does. I don't. We do honest, we do biblical, spirit-led conversations about the world we're actually living in. You guys know I have to talk about my omega blood test. If you've been listening, you already know your inflammation, your brain health, your energy, your mood, all of it is tied to your omega balance. um Again, nothing in this podcast is medical advice. It's not a diagnosis. It's not a treatment. We are here to share our experiences, our opinions, and our perspectives. You can make your own decisions, talk to your own doctors. Don't take anything we say as the end all, be all, do all kind of thing. Okay. That's your legal disclaimer for the entire episode. It's sealed and delivered. Okay. Today's conversation, let me bring in the man who somehow keeps all of his all his shows, okay, both grounded, and then it still comes on here and allows me to be slightly unhinged. And that is my fabulous podcasting professional and podcasting main coach, Rory.
Oh, I love that. I mean, that was good. I'm like, keep going, keep going. I'm
Right,
liking it.
right.
Thank you very much. So happy to be here and so ready for this topic in this podcast today. I cannot even tell you.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys, you guys know we gave you a warning of what this is going to be about today. And it's so crazy because literally just now I had to pull up Facebook to send Roy the link, the Zoom link to record. And one of the towns next to me, probably it's like 20, 30 minutes away, they had an opportunity. They were getting an AI data center. They shut it down. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Because on the other side of me, like where my kid works, where we do a lot of our stuff, they're building one. Nobody shut it down. I've seen one person talk about it. There's not a big uproar, and there needs to be. So it's a funny little coincidence that I saw that out there. But
That was beautiful when I saw that.
yeah,
I thought of you immediately and I was like, okay, yay, Indiana. So
yeah,
sorry for Michigan.
no, and
Once again,
it is good for them. I was very proud of them.
I was too. It was, and the decisions were made based on really sound things also. It wasn't just some big protest or everybody's against it because they feel like they should. It was
Right.
legit, like, this is not good for us here. And they really made the case. And they got the support to kill it. And it's a model for everybody else to follow, frankly.
And I mean, some places it's too late. You guys have already dropped the ball on that. So there has to be something we can do to still shut it down. But I don't really know. I don't really know what that looks like because I mean, it's everywhere, you guys. And
Yeah.
I mean, other countries are already dropping things like this. It's I'm putting my phone on mute right now because it's my squirrel brain. I don't know why I always forget to do that. But there are other countries that are doing it. Like China is probably the worst case scenario and proof that digital ID can become a tool of control because China has their digital IDs linked to people's financial access, travel permissions, housing, job eligibility, um, social credit system. If your score drops, your access drops. And China is showing us what it looks like when the government is putting it on full blast. India is throwing it out there too because they've
Yeah.
got the fingerprints, the iris scans, digital photos. And this is what they sold it as, you guys. This is the pretty little package that they put it in: streamlining services.
Oh, yeah. It's
Doesn't
going to be
that
so much easier.
it sounds like, wow, we
Yeah.
need that, you guys, because we've been so brainwashed and so stupid for the jargon that they use here. Okay, so I am going to give you guys, before we end this show today, I'm going to give you some things to look for when it comes to voting for any election, because they're going to sneak this in there because we're
Oh,
using
yeah.
idiots.
100%.
But
This stuff goes so deep.
yeah,
It just goes so deep, and people really don't understand how deep. Even they don't even understand how deep China's using it because you have to, rabbit hole search for this stuff to find it because the media is trying to keep it gone. They want it.
yeah,
The elites all want it. Anybody making $500,000 more in the world apparently seems to want it. But all the working man and woman. I mean, oh my gosh, it would literally be the end of the country as we know it
it'd
if
be
we get that.
yeah.
Yeah.
We know that European Union, our great old EU, they're pushing it out already with digital wallets. Everything depends on your digital ID. Australia, I believe Canada is moving towards it too.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
they have a federal digital identity banking integration. They've openly supported the system where identity verification ties directly to your banks
Yeah.
and financial institution. So, I mean, isn't that a part of it was Canada, I think, during COVID that people's bank accounts were frozen during protests, wasn't that?
That
Didn't
was here
that
too.
they did that here too? That's
That was here too. Yeah. PayPal. When I do my coaching and stuff, I'm like, hey, I take Cash App, I take Venmo, and if I have to, then I take PayPal. But that's just to, be able to do business. But I tried really hard to stay away from PayPal if it's at all possible, which is also hard because Venmo now is owned, by PayPal
is it
too.
okay.
Yeah. So, but anyway, PayPal was making decisions. It happened to a friend of mine, Justin Wegner, who ran what was called Backbone Swag at the time. It was a t-shirt company. He changed it to Day 41 Apparel, decided to do things in the name of God and, so on. Uh, his entire brand now is sort of Christ-facing. But he was coming out talking a lot of conservative talking points, anti vaccine, that sort of thing, and he had money sitting in his PayPal account that was connected to his app. People ordering, and it was in a PayPal. PayPal seized the money, seized it, and said it was because he was pushing hate speech and misinformation. And he was like, "How do I get this back?" And the first thing they said was, "Well, first you have to prove that you've taken all that down." This is in writing. He has this from this company.
How
If
did they
PayPal
not
can do it to you,
did that? I had no idea.
yeah, because the press doesn't talk about it. When we hear this stuff that happens from people that we know, when it's other conservative business leaders, who are just, independent business people trying to make a living, and they're getting deplatformed, they're getting taken down. It happens to you every other week, in terms of Facebook jail, right?
Fail, yeah,
Imagine if Facebook had control over your money.
right. Well, they kind of do. I mean, they've monetized and then taken my money more times
Mm,
than I can count. So they kind of do because it
yeah.
was they dangle the carrot, they get me on their platform, drawing people to it, and then they're like, "Oh, never mind, you can't get paid because we don't like what you put up yesterday." So that's like a whole month of money they'll take. So I've played that game. I
Yeah.
was like pre-COVID, pre stuff that happened. I was making almost $1,000 on Facebook just doing what I do, and then I spoke out about COVID, and that was it. I
How
don't think
dare you?
I'll never see that level of money from them again because every single time I go to my professional dashboard, it said there's alerts on your account. So
Right. See, people don't understand that this digital ID thing is actually here already in
right.
so many ways. Stuff like what we're talking about now, but the dumbest thing I ever saw was a little video of some woman walking into Whole Foods and doing the palm scan
Yeah.
and how excited she was. She goes, "Oh my gosh, I just paid with my palm. How cool is this?" And I'm dying inside. Like, how can you be that stupid?
I didn't know they had that anywhere.
Oh yeah, matter of fact, every time you go to Whole Foods, it's like, don't forget your palm code.
Maybe because I don't go to Whole Foods. I'm not bougie.
That would
I
do it.
go to Aldi, you guys. All
And
my
my wife's bougie. She's unapologetically bougie.
yeah.
So we got to go to Whole Foods to get my wife, the turkey that she wants. That's,
Nice.
supposedly totally organic and yada yada. But so I
Fair.
walk in there for my couple things I got to get, and every time I'm looking at this machine going,
Ugh,
wow, asking for my palm code. I mean, do you need the chip that's embedded in my arm while we're at it?
right.
No, retina scan. How
Yeah.
about a blood test? It's in China, like we've been talking about. But the thing that people don't talk about on what's going on in China is that not only do they have access to your credit report through all of that, but based on your credit report, they now make decisions for you. If your credit score is higher, you can make different decisions that may not make too much sense. If your credit score is low, they go, you need help making good decisions. And they limit what you can buy and how much of it, things like that. They are now also, since they've had the grocery issues and the tariffs and all that kind of thing, especially when it comes to what is it, red meat, beef in particular, but also one of the two poultries, and I wish I knew, chicken or turkey, one of those two. You can only buy so much. So if I want to go in and buy more steak than I've ever bought in my life because I have the money to do it, China can say, nope, you surpassed your amount you're allowed. You can only have this much today. And they can literally control what I buy.
Yeah.
People do not get that once you give the government access,
Mm.
they're never going to give it back.
No. Kind of like your income.
Never going to happen. Oh,
Like let's help our country, and that never stops, you guys, and they've taken advantage of that. But I mean, they've tested the systems that are here to enable it, okay? Because it I don't want you guys to think that they just are going to roll out this massive thing overnight. Obviously they're going to test the plumbing first. Giant systems. This stuff has required trial runs. So what are some hints of that? Like pandemic passports that literally happened. And it was
right.
government tested QR based IDs. Movement restrictions wasn't the mark of the beast, but it proved the concept works.
100%.
You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
Everything they did in airports, the digital benefit system, your food stamps, you guys, that's not, you think that's not setting you up for something? You're crazy.
Right. They know exactly how much you have.
Yeah.
Right. The thing that people also don't think about that's right in front of our faces right now is the when you go through the self-check line
Yeah.
at Meijer or Martin's or any store, right? Walmart, you go through that line and every register says card only,
Yeah.
no cash.
Exactly.
They're already conditioning you that in order to use cash, you have to go all the way down to the one register they've opened that has 15 people in it all trying to pay cash. And you're not getting out of here for another hour. Or you can conform and pull out your card. If they can get everybody off cash and everybody on cards, it's 6 degrees of separation to my palm
Yep.
and my retina and my urine sample in order to buy beef.
I
It's
just want you
insane.
guys to know that I contribute to the population that waits.
Amen.
First of all, they don't pay me to scan my shit.
No, it's bad.
If I'm not getting a discount on my groceries for scanning my own stuff, that was my first rebellion. And then realizing, yeah, I can't use cash in Aldi or Walmart in these machines. So I'm out.
Yeah. If they tell me you can't use cash, it's card only, I put my stuff down and I go, well, then I'm out.
That's
And
it.
I walk out the door. That's it. Soon as they take away cash, they know every single thing about you.
Exactly.
Everything about you. I may have 18 bucks in my wallet right now. Government doesn't know. But if I have 18 bucks in my bank account, they know.
Yeah,
They know it's not just 18 bucks, it's $18.04.
exactly.
They know exactly what I have. And that's what they start making decisions on. They can say you're not saving well enough, you're not being green enough, you're buying too many products that are not eco-friendly. So apparently you're an enemy of the state. They can do anything they want to do to you when you give them that control. You cannot cross this final frontier. We can't. This is where the country lives and dies. Keep this, everybody's still got a chance. Lose this, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. They've got us.
I hope you guys take this seriously. And I mean, technical, blah, blah, blah. I know words, you guys. Tech companies are doing this all over the states already with passkeys, Face ID. They have the biometric login, verified profiles. And listen, like that's not evil by itself, right? That's not a big deal, but it's normalizing in the minds of the people that are using it and the influence that they're going to have on other people that it's not bad. So like it's already training, pre-programming the population. Little things are being said so that we are trained to follow
Mm-hmm.
we the sheeple. So
Sheeple. I love that.
I think, this isn't about like monitoring guy for big drones. It's you need to start paying attention to policies and infrastructure because that's where vigilance on this topic actually matters. And these are the phrases of things that they'll use. It's going to be that like digital identity modernization. That sounds fancy.
That sounds beautiful
Yeah.
right there.
Secure identification initiative. Oh, because there's so much ID fraud and so much fraud going on that if they can package this thing that says secure identification initiative, you're going to think you're safe. It's a manipulation, psychological manipulation with the words they're using. Enhanced authentication systems. That sounds great too. Digital wallet government services. Harmonized identity framework. These are the words that are going to come out. Smart city integration. That should raise a red flag.
Right.
This is where the door opens. Okay. And it's the consolidation of systems too. Big red flag if we're trying to have databases merge into one where you've got your benefits, your medical, your taxes, your voting. If they're like, it's all right here in this one, that's a big red flag. Okay. Centralization is going to be a single point of control, and you have to watch out for that. Watching out for the removal of choice.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing. Like digital ID isn't dangerous because it exists, you guys. It's dangerous because they're looking for the power to mandate it. They're looking for the power to require it for access or for the purchase or for movement. And listen, we are not a free country. I'm going to say that right now. We are not a free
Yeah.
country, not with taxes. And I don't care what you pay. Brandon, I only pay X amount of dollars in federal taxes. No, you pay taxes on tax. We're slaves. But we have a level of freedom that other people don't. And the only little freedom we have will disappear when the alternative disappears.
True. 100%. That's why, like the cash situation, you don't have to pass something that says we're only going to do digital, payments. You can simply say we aren't going to take cash anymore. Okay, well, now you've just made it mandatory to use your card and to take a digital payment because you've taken away the alternative.
Right.
They don't have to pass gun control. We have people who listen to this that I think probably like their Second Amendment rights. You don't have to have something passed that says, hey, we're taking your guns. All you have to do is go to digital ID and take cash away so that you have to use your card to buy a gun. And someone says, wait a minute, you're buying a gun?
Yep.
Don't you already have one of those? You don't need two. Declined.
And your
Boom. Bullets? I'm sorry. It shows that you've purchased X number of bullets. Anything more than this, we've determined is a threat, right? So bad. So sorry. Declined. We are giving so much power to these people. And it doesn't matter which side you're on. This is not a partisan issue. This is anybody issue. This is about being America issue. You cannot give control like that away. You will never get it back, and they can use it for everything. It's really, I mean, it's beyond dystopian. It's because actually here, it's going on now. It's reality, and we have to start moving against it. We can't just sit here and hope it doesn't come because it's here. We have to start actively moving against it to say we demand to be able to use cash. There needs to be legislation, for instance, that says, look, cash is legal tender. And if you're not going to accept that from somebody, then they get the product free.
right.
Right? That's actually written into Indiana law at this point, which is funny. Not Michigan, but in Indiana it is.
You're not in Michigan.
Right.
Forget
Now you only have to have one place where I can pay it. So they're going to still push everybody, into the one line that's open if you want to use cash, and they're going to make it harder. But they can't say to you, I'm not taking cash for that at all. Or they have to give you the item, which is a little ridiculous. But once again, stupid laws are created because stupid things are enacted by stupid people. So we end up with stupid laws.
I think, make sure you guys are watching out for things like financial systems that are going to link your ID to any spending, or, being vigilant about any policy that's going to merge any kind of identity with banking. And I know we're not in the city, but the smart city thing, you guys, that is not like a tinfoil hat. Okay. That is that is literally what they want to do. Um, I don't even think there's anything great about a smart city because they become surveillance ecosystems. That's it. So, you know, We have to demand oversight. We have to demand limitations. We have to demand public reporting. Everything has to be out in the open. And, I think
I'm with you.
the Bible's not telling us to like panic at technology. I love technology. Obviously, I use it every single day. But there is a blueprint in the book for discerning corrupt systems. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I want you guys just, to notice the patterns. Like it's not going to be a tattoo, it's not going to be a chip, it's a system of required allegiance controlling your access to commerce. The red flag is not the technology, okay? It's compulsory allegiance and forced dependency. If a digital system becomes the gatekeeper of life, you need to pay attention.
Big time. Good thing to point out. Really good thing to point out. And I
So,
love the centralization point too.
yeah,
Anything that starts to centralize and combine, we got to run from, we got to strike down. It can't be allowed to move forward. We have a new thing that came out in the same vein in this past, I think, 10 days. It's been hitting, but now it's actually here. And that's the deal. You might have seen this on social media. I did my own little dive on this yesterday. And it was the Apple folks who make, the iPhone and Safari and all that fun stuff. They're telling people on your iPhone, do not use Google. Do not use Google Chrome anymore because Google came out with a fingerprint recognition software and they're collecting fingerprints. So every time you use your phone on Chrome, it's collecting your fingerprints that you touch the phone with, collecting your literally your ID that way or everything that you do.
well, my MacBook, I can do fingerprint ID on it, and I type in my password. It's not a big deal. So
Right.
I can rebel against the fingerprint stuff.
So we know the technology already exists. So the idea that it's going on is really not far-fetched. It's already there. Google has not refuted it once
Wow.
since it came out. And if iPhone knows about it, right, they're doing the same thing, but they're just the ones who are calling out Google for doing it, so it looks like they're not.
Right.
And I mean, it's all again just being useful idiots. But the fact of the matter is they're doing this. They have your retina scan already from looking at your phone. They've got you.
And I
Yeah,
want
they
to make
have your
it
fingerprint.
clear, it isn't even about a political party.
No.
This is not a political party. These people hate you.
Yeah.
And I don't care what side of the bird you're on, it's the same bird, right? Like they hate you. So it's, we can't just put our head in the sand. This is something that we actually can come together on um to make a difference.
Yeah. It's already here, which just really makes me want to go throw something against the wall.
Yeah.
The more you think about how much is actually here, this was not a good episode for me. Because when you take this in small doses and you like notice different things throughout the day, you can handle it in small doses, right? And sort of diffuse it in small doses. When you really do a deep dive on it, and you've done this, right? And all of a sudden all of this evidence is in front of you and you realize how much there is because you're looking at it all at once. It is frightening. And I don't get frightened.
Right.
I'm weary, I'm a little leery of something. I got a little like got an eye on you type of thing. But wow, it's already here. So, we are a pen stroke away from losing what little bit we have left.
Exactly.
Something has to stop. It's got to stop now.
And I feel like now that data is the new oil for our country. Everyone talks about AI like magic. Sure, it's math on steroids that needs a ton of data and a ton of power. So all these centers that they're building are power plants, you guys, that feed and run AI models. And the more AI in demand, the more centers, and that's what's happening right now, is there's been an influx of people going to AI. So we're already demanding that they do this for us. Like we're asking for this. And at this point, they're chasing money. They want to scale. These
Hmm.
companies, these tech companies, everybody wants to scale faster, bigger, more powerful, and they're building in these small towns around us because land is cheaper, power is cheaper, which is not in Michigan. So that's kind of weird to me. Like our power is insane, but nobody's protesting loud like they would in a big city. So it's economics here as to why they're attacking all these small towns, but they're popping up everywhere, and they require an insane amount of electricity and water. AI training, you guys, literally drains reservoirs. So when you're putting them in rural areas, you're rerouting community resources to big tech. So here we are with, all these bigs, big government, big pharma, you got big tech. You are being targeted. Small towns have fewer politicians, fewer lawyers, fewer regulations, and way less of an ability to fight back. So it's very strategic. Like I said, in the town that they're building in here, nobody cares about that town. Nobody. Any leadership has been caught for, you know, stealing money. Like it's just always toxic. Nobody cares. So they knew that was the perfect place to go because nobody cares.
Hmm.
And the more AI runs the world, the more whoever owns that infrastructure controls the flow of information. And that is not a tinfoil hat, you guys. That's literally how power works. If you can control search engines, communication, banking, medical records, education, digital ID systems, you don't need a dictator. You are the system. You are the system. So once this is built, nobody's asking permission anymore. The control is embedded in the system. And I know that it's easy to think that these AI centers by themselves might sound harmless, but I need you guys to take them into context. And I really did not know this data center was coming to this town until I saw my friend post about it. Then I search it and I see who else is talking about it. Nobody.
Right.
Every comment on his post, nobody knew about it. So I want you guys to do some research in your little towns, find out like what they're building. Super sleuth. If you don't want to do it, have your wife do it. We are like mini FBI agents. They're real good kind though. The kind that we could find anything out real fast.
Right on. I love that.
You guys, it's all of this. It's just so much parter. It's so much. It's part of a much bigger digital ecosystem, really, that is moving society towards that automation, the centralized power, global level coordination, one world order. Like, are you getting it yet?
Yeah. You make a real good point about where they're putting these centers, in the towns that are small that, quote, don't matter. They're putting them in centers. They're not urban centers where there's lots of people around that could go protest. They're putting them in cities, in towns, in villages, around our country where the average populace is out working two jobs just to buy milk. And they don't have time to worry about what might happen with AI because they're trying to pay the rent. And they're taking advantage of the situation that they created to slip it by us. You know, you can have, somebody, some company chose white as the new color for whatever it was, the winter or some kind of nonsense. It was like their holiday color was white, and the whole left lost their minds. And you can organize a protest for that in an urban area like tomorrow, and have 500 people there. You can't do that in Wakarusa. Nobody cares. They're like, this is stupid. I'm going to work. Goodbye. I got to go punch my clock. So they're literally putting them in all these little towns where no one in the town can care because we're struggling so hard to survive. That isn't by accident either. That's all by design. Everything that they're doing is by this ridiculous, horrible design.
And if I was
So,
the devil, that's the way I'd do it. But you guys, they're not
mm,
for you with horns and a pitchfork. You understand? They're coming through with words like efficiency, convenience, safety. They want your data because data is money. They want your dependency because dependency is power. They want your compliance because compliance is control. Money is the leash and your soul is the goal. That's it. It's always going to come down to a biblical spiritual warfare. Your soul is the goal.
Boom.
AI data centers, social media, cloud storage, all runs through a handful of systems. The people controlling those systems control your worldview, your centralized ID. You don't just have an identity, you're accessing an identity through a digital key. That identity becomes conditional. Central bank digital currencies, programmable money, trackable, freezable, expirable. You think cancel culture is scary? Canceling someone's ability to buy groceries is insane to me. And there is a centralized allegiance, one governing body, global council. They decide what's true, what's allowed, what's safe, who gets access. I think Israel's in on that, but that's another
That's
conversation.
another podcast.
It's not fiction. They literally meet and plan the stuff at things like the World Economic Forum, who UN global governance councils. So once all four pieces lock into place, you guys understand that's the one world order system without them ever needing to stage a coup or start a war. It's digital, it's quiet, it's convenient, and it's wrapped in the marketing of progress. And you guys understand, okay, the mark of the beast is not going to show up as a barcode on your forehead. It is going to show up as the thing you must accept to participate in society. Revelations is about access. No man can buy or sell unless he has the mark. That means the mark is tied to commerce, identity, permission. Does that sound familiar? Because that's everything we're talking about. These AI systems, all of this, the biometrics, DID, the digital IDs, exact infrastructure needed to make Revelations 13 possible for the first time in world history. Could that be the mark? Maybe not the final version, but it looks pretty suspicious. So I'm going to say yes. We're watching the scaffolding go up for something that's going to require unquestioned compliance. And what do they say? If you're against it, you're crazy. You're extreme, you're paranoid, you're anti-science, you're dangerous, because they need you to be quiet. They need you to be docile. They need you to be numbed by convenience. The mark is not just about buying or selling. It's about allegiance. It's the point where people say, I will choose the system over God. I will choose safety over faith. I will choose compliance over conviction. That's why it's a spiritual mark, just not just the technological one. And technology makes the control possible, but obedience makes the control complete. That's it. So I think we're looking at early architecture of the beast system. And if you don't agree, you're lying to yourselves.
I could not agree more. And they have already done the dry run for it. And they have proof of concept because of what they did during COVID. That's exactly what they did to us. We let our loved ones die and said, oh, well, because we have to comply. You know, we gave up holidays, we gave up our religion, we gave up going to church, we gave up all sorts. We weren't willing to give up our jobs and our money because the price of everything went through the roof. So, of course, we had to comply. They literally did a compliance test on our country and on the whole world. But in our country, it was worse than a lot of other places because it was so political and it was so politicized. They did the dry run, and we told them we absolutely are willing to be controlled under the right circumstances. And, you know, we've recovered from that a little bit, but, you know, if it happened again, there's an awful lot of people who are like, well, I wouldn't do that this time. Who will? They'll comply.
Well,
Yeah.
and there'll always be an excuse. And that's
Right.
why I feel like if your foundation is not on Christ, if it is not with God, you will always have an excuse to fall in to the mark of the beast. You will always have an excuse. That means, yeah, if they threaten your job, you're going to lose your job. But what has God promised us that's so much bigger than your job? If
Right.
he takes care of the birds, how's he going to let you starve? And it is that blind faith. And I feel like that's part of our journey, is to be tested at that point.
No.
You know, there's going to be a point where you have to decide it's faith or fear, and you can't have both. So We will not comply. And you guys need to check your towns because these AI centers are like the nervous system here. And we want to cut that down right now. We
Yeah.
cannot let them build the backbone for this. We can't. They're not stupid. They're
Hmm.
not. But I would say close this out. I think I've touched on the things that I think are super important that, you know, this is very important for us to be vigilant, you guys, and it's something that we can all come together on.
Um, Thank you. That's awesome. And I will. I had two things I was going to close out on, and you grabbed one of them and did a much better job with it than I was, and that was the mark of the beast. So great job on that. Um, the other one is in order to make any of this work, they have to have us weak. And everybody wants to look at all these different things and say, well, this is different. This is separate. This is a different topic. You and I do it all the time. We say, well, that's a separate show, right? The fact of the matter is that in order for any of this to work, we have to be weak as a people, as individuals. So, folks, it's not an accident that they've literally been poisoning us for decades, preparing for this. They've been making us weak for decades. They ran the COVID test to make sure that we were weak and keep us weak. They have the cultural phenomenon that is the left, that is making sure that our morals are weak, our constitution is weak, our rules are weak. Apparently now you can, throw a brick at a cop and hit him and not get arrested. So even our normal rule of already written law is weak. That has to happen in order for this to work. So it isn't just this one thing. It's not just don't scan your palm when you go to Whole Foods. It's you have to understand that everything else that's happening that's making you weak is preparing you for the slaughter. And folks, I don't intend to just walk into the slaughterhouse singing a happy tune. You're going to drag me in there with multiple big dudes and ropes and chains and probably gagged and bound because I'm not going gently into that dark night, no matter what. And if you're gonna, you know what? Just go do it now. Okay? Go get it over with and get out of society so I don't have to trip over you when I'm climbing the mountain trying to do some good. And I think that there's an awful lot of people who will do that if we can all just wake the heck up. That's it.
Well said. See you guys next week.